So, Kevin, you've come over to Ireland. When did you come over?
I actually arrived in Ireland on March 1st, 1981. So it'll be 36 years ago next March.
And you've seen the sport in Ireland grow exponentially, especially in the last few years. Can you describe from when you first came over here, probably to non-existent American football playing in Ireland, to where it is today?
Basically, completely non-existent. When I arrived, there was absolutely nothing, and then around 1986, it kind of took off via television. And there started to be some interest and the IAFA, Irish American Football Association, was formed that year in 1986, and they had their first championship game, which was Shamrock Bowl 1. I then joined a team in Dublin the following year, and played. Now, teams kind of came and went over the years, but the league stuck it out, got stronger, and as of now, I believe there are 28 teams across the country, and I mean right across the country. They stretch from Cork to Donegal to Belfast to Wexford, Meath, Westmeath, Kildare,
Yeah.
Louth. They are everywhere.
And when it first started off, it was in probably the urban areas, maybe Cork, Dublin first and foremost, I'd imagine.
It wasn't even Cork. It was Dublin and Belfast mostly.
Okay. And like now you're saying they're in Donegal. I know of a guy I'm interviewing later. He was playing in Waterford, and he just decided I can't commute anymore, and he decided I'm going to set up the Wexford team.
Yeah, I assume you're talking about either Arthur or John.
John, I believe. Yeah.
It's who? Sorry.
John. Yeah, I think it's John. Yeah.
Yeah, John Lynch. Yeah, for sure. He was playing with the Waterford Wolves, but it was a long commute. Now, Waterford Wolves are still there, by the way, and we'll actually be playing them twice in the coming season, so that's going to be interesting for John and for Arthur, who are the two founder members of the Wexford Eagles.
And obviously, American football is big in Europe, like the Berlin, Barcelona, London even, there's big teams, but how do Ireland fare out? Are they starting to kind of nudge a bit of weight around Europe?
Absolutely. Team Ireland now are still in, fairly infant stages,
yes.
But and we lack, I suppose the one thing we lack in comparison to some of the other national teams that we're facing against is pure size. Those other teams would have guys, and when I say guys, I mean a line full of guys that weigh 22, 23 stone and can run the 40-yard dash in less than 5 seconds. These are big, strong, fast guys. But there's no mistaking the athleticism and the fitness of the Irish team. And with practice and with time, they will certainly be on a level with any team in Europe.
And like squad numbers in teams in Ireland, I was just off the phone with Steve O'Rourke. You may or may not know him. He's with the 42, and he was telling me that Belfast has a squad healthy of 60 men. That must be just from where you saw at the start to non-existent to where it is now. It just must be astonishing.
It is astonishing. Now, what I have to say, and all credit to John Lynch and Arthur Goose when they started this thing, it was three guys throwing a football around in any piece of grass they could find in Gorey to do it. They contacted me in the summer of 2015 and asked would I come along and just work with the offense a little bit. And I said, absolutely. I was in the States at the time, just on a holiday. When I came back the end of September, I went up and started watching them, and they had 8-9 guys coming to practice was all. And now that's getting late 2015 with the season starting on the 1st of May 2016. By the time the season started, the Wexford Eagles had 30 players in uniform. And we now have a squad of about 45. And this is just our second year. So in terms of growth, while Belfast has been impressive, ours has actually been, on a like-for-like basis, much faster and more explosive.
And do you find it that places sometimes find it difficult to secure facilities to play? Or I know I was reading up on Kildare. I think North Kildare or South Kildare, they play on one of the rugby fields. Is that a problem?
It can be. Sometimes politics come into it, and the GA might not want a non-GA sport being played on one of their pitches. A lot of the teams use rugby grounds. Some use GA pitches. Some use county council facilities. Obviously, you have to have goalposts in place.
Yeah.
So, it's limited. But all these teams have been able to come up with venues, including ourselves. And again, this year there's another brand new team, the Antrim Jets, based in Northern Ireland, and they've come up with a facility. So, needs must, but will. Will is a strong thing, and these lads always seem to find ways to get it done.
Before I let you go, just one question: where would you like to see the IAFA go, and Team Ireland? What's the next step to getting becoming a big player in Europe?
Well, the IFA just on the 19th of November, they held tryouts for Team Ireland. It's the first ever open tryouts for the team. And 100 players signed up for those tryouts, and 80 plus turned up on the day for the tryouts. It was a full-day session. And a goodly number were added to the squad. What I'd like to see happen from there, obviously now there's going to be competition for places, because prior to that, the guys on Team Ireland were there by invite, and they kind of felt they owned the places on the basis of those invites. I like to see competition in the squad. I think it's going to make the team much stronger and hungrier. With that, they're meeting once a month to practice now, because all of these guys are taken from club teams, and they don't want to burn them out, that kind of thing. I think where I'd like to see Team Ireland go is maybe meet a bit more often and have a few more games each year. They're only scheduled to play 1 or 2 international games each year, and I'd like to see that number increased if possible.
One more question that I just thought of. Do you think it could ever in the future test the big three of rugby, GA, soccer? Do you think 10, 15, 20 years down the line we could have maybe rugby players switching to American football, or GA players even?
I'll answer that just on the base, again, of the Wexford Eagles' own experience last year, in that we were getting huge numbers. When I say huge numbers, we were getting hundreds coming to our games. We were getting more people coming to our games than were coming to the local soccer matches, and Gaelic matches. Based on that interest alone, I can see the game growing to the point where it does rival the other sports, yes. Particularly if, and I think this is more a case of when now than if, the NFL opens a team in England. And I'm very, very confident that'll happen in the next 3 to 5 years.
Kevin Klatt, quarterbacks coach for Team Ireland, thanks a million for coming on.